Welcome to all the E-Type Club members and E-Type Jaguar enthusiasts. Okay, so this is part 2 of fitting the tank. The tank's in now. One of the things I have to admit to, I was kind of naive here. I actually thought the problems you had with this tank, you know, everybody says fitting the tank's a real problem, and the standard joke is that Jaguar must have fitted the car around the tank. And I thought what they were talking about was actually physically putting the tank in place, which is reasonably easy. What they're really referring to is the bolting system or the mounting system for it, for securing it into the car. That's a real pain. So what you've got is I'll use this torch here. So you've got that one there, which is basically a rubber underneath, rubber on top. This one here at the back. Here, so these two go in first, and then this one here last. This one's the easiest to do because the bracket can come out a little bit, and it's fairly easy to do. But these two, this one here and this one here, can be a real sod. And what you've got in there is you've got basically a tube, a central tube on the two rubbers. So you got one rubber underneath, and then the tube, and then the rubber, and then the bolt. So what you need to do, I mean, you can see obviously I've fitted, as you can see there, obviously the bumpers are, that one doesn't need to be fitted, that side, but this is all fitted in now and fully fitted up. And then put in your hose for your tank, because you can't obviously fit it in between afterwards. Here, put that in and push it up as far as you can get, and then put your Jubilee clamps on it, do all your wiring, and then you're ready to go. So as I say, getting the tank in is not a major struggle, and I found that actually I ended up putting the sponge that goes between the tank and the boot floor, I lifted it slightly and put it on, and then got it in, because you just can't lift it, well you can, but it's a bit of a poking around to do it. So yeah, what I would say, when you're putting the tank in, especially if it's a new tank, is dry fit it without any of the rubbers, without any of these supports, and make sure that the central hole in the steel tank itself is central to every bolt hole. You know, pre-fit it first. If it's not, then you could use a Dremel or a tool to grind it out a little bit, so that you've got some movement on the rubbers. If you haven't done that and you're in this position, the only other thing you can do is take out the steel sleeve, because you might find you have to push the rubbers over to one side, but they just don't fit very well, and they're extremely difficult to bolt up. You can see you can't get a socket in there, nothing. You've got to do it with a little open-ended spanner, and it has to be a tiny one too, at 9 5/8. And this one you can get to with a socket, and that one is difficult too. It doesn't look it, but you can't get a reasonable size socket in there. Anyway, ring spanner will work. But as you can see, it's in, it's all secured and ready to go. So I hope those tips help out, but definitely dry run first. Make sure those brackets on the steel brackets on the tank, or the central part of the tank, when you put the tank in, and put the bolts in dry without any rubber or nothing, and see if they're central, because if they're not, you'll just have a nightmare trying to get them in. If anything, you make the hole a little bit bigger, so you've got some room for maneuver. And the other thing is on these ones here, put that torch back on again. On these ones here, they're very hard to get to. So when you bring the tank over, once you've got it to once you've got the tank to about this kind of position, fit them on, but don't glue them on, because you need to be able to move them. But if you put some grease on them, something like that, at least they'll stick to the tank, so that when you lift them on, you don't drop them down the back. The other little trick I found was this is the spanner I use. It's a small 9 5/8, very short shaft, and I put a thingy on it. I put a piece of cable on it, because if you drop that down the back there, you've got big problems. You either leave the spanner rattling around, or you have to take it out. The same down there. So I put this thing around my wrist before I started on with the spanner on it. Anyway, I hope those little tips help out, and it's a job that can be quite demanding and definitely tests your patience, and I'm glad mine's done. I hope it's done and there's no issues. Anyway, thanks for watching in, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not. Bye for now. Bye.